Hello, this is Nitin Dahad with the Times, and I'm talking to Shari Liss of SEMI, who deals with workforce development and education. So, hi, Shari.
Hi, Nitin. It's great to see you.
So, Sherry, I think one of the key things, and I spoke to your president CEO Ajit, and in his keynote he talked about the war for talent, and I think I'm hearing this all the time, over the last couple of years through yourselves and other organisations. But just tell me a little bit about your role, and SEMI, and how that's grown.
Sure. Hi. So my name is Shari Liss, and I'm the executive director of the SEMI Foundation. And the SEMI Foundation oversees workforce development and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives on behalf of the industry. And when I joined SEMI about 4 years ago or so, we had just a couple of programs in place, and then the whole world changed sort of beneath our feet. And now we have more than a dozen initiatives reaching millions of students or millions of potential employees all across the world. We work with all the way from elementary school all the way up to reskilling and upskilling folks. So it's an exciting time to be in this industry. It's an exciting time to tackle talent, and there's a huge need.
Why is it exciting? I mean, people can go and work in the city, or they can work in one of these big, Facebook, Google, whatever. Why is it exciting to go into SEMI, and what are the things that you're doing that help people to say, oh wow?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting because this industry is in absolutely everything that you use almost every day. And I don't think everybody understands that, but our chips are in the phones and appliances and cars. It's everywhere around us. And I think one of the things that we're really trying to do in our work is showcase that narrative and make sure that everybody understands that this is such a big part of the world. This is what creates vaccines. This is like everything that's been happening in the globe around us has something to do with the microelectronics industry. And so trying to tell that story has been a huge part of our work. And that's what excites students to the work.
And I think just to reinforce that, you were recently at a meeting with Secretary Gina Raimondo and a number of governors around the US around the table. It seemed quite an impressive place to be. Tell us what you can tell us. What was involved and what you felt the outcome was. Was it quite positive?
Yeah, it was awesome and totally intimidating, if I'm being honest. But yes, I got to speak about workforce at the National Governors Association with Secretary Raimondo in front of 19 governors who asked lots of great questions around workforce and the needs across this industry. And I think the outcome was incredibly positive. People are excited and interested in the work, and a lot of the states where we don't yet have a significant presence wanted to speak afterwards and say, what about us? Bring your workforce programs to our state as well. So we need an all-hands approach in order to make a difference and a dent in the talent needs. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that we need in the U.S. alone, and when we look at global, it just expands exponentially. So all hands on deck for sure, and the outcome of that was pretty clear.
And you're working with people around the world as well. So you've got a global remit, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. SEMI now has 8 global regions where we sit, and a lot of our programs, although initiated in the U.S., are now being implemented in all of our regions globally. So even here in Europe, we started the high-tech U programs. We've iterated on the careers site. We're helping with any content and curriculum that we can provide, but also the Europe team has developed an incredible set of initiatives that we are now adopting back in the States as well.
And I think again, there's sort of allocation of the funding from the CHIPS Act for some of this as well, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's workforce embedded in every NOFO that's coming out of the federal government under the CHIPS Act. So there's workforce in the incentive funds, which go to each company that's applying for money. There's workforce embedded in the NSTC or NatCast as well. So there's going to be a big investment in the U.S. around workforce coming as these investments come out of the federal government.
I think one of the things there's so many different initiatives, but what are the things get you excited? I know you say everything gets you excited.
Sure. I think we've had some really great experiences and initiatives that we've built where we've had real impact. So I guess for me, being able to spearhead a veteran initiative in partnership with so many of our member companies and looking at how to excite veterans as they transition into civilian careers into this industry has been really powerful. And holding hiring events and showcasing the breadth and depth of opportunities for them has been really an awesome part of the work. Another big piece is, apprenticeship programs and changing the mindset of this industry, especially in the U.S., to be more open to that pathway, to that alternative pathway to hire. We're also, the K-12 stuff is also really exciting because when we talk to students, they don't know our work. So the idea that we can bring this industry into the hands of kids as early as third grade through kind of engineering design kits and showcasing what this industry is at elementary, at middle, and high school is just awesome. So there's some great work.
And it's not just electronics. I mean, there's all kinds of in semiconductor manufacturing, we have materials, chemicals, processes. So you're trying to go wider, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, there are jobs across the board. So we're trying to showcase, yes, we need people that can do the technician and operator roles in the fabs, but we need all of the engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, chemical engineers. We need everybody across the board. And then we need the graduate students, the masters and PhDs to do the innovation, to do the R&D, to be really deep in this work. So yeah, we need everybody.
Tell us a little bit about diversity and some of the programs there.
Yeah, of course. As an industry, our numbers aren't great when we look at gender and race equity across the industry. So we have a lot of initiatives. I think everything that we do, honestly, is embedded with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So our High Tech U programs, which are our K-12 programs, we do a lot of outreach to underserved communities and underserved schools and populations that wouldn't necessarily have access to this industry. Our apprenticeship programs, our veteran work really always has the angle of looking at diverse communities and how we pull from those communities. Specifically with gender, we have a women in semiconductor group that meets often, and we have events where we invite allies and talk about allyship and how critical it is to have sponsorship and mentorship. We also run mentoring programs, so we're really trying to provide pathways of support to diverse candidates in this industry, and it is very needed. But again, it takes a village. Everybody has to contribute. We have to have our companies own the idea that they have to create cultures of inclusion and belonging. People have to feel like they want to be in this industry, so that's a really important part too.
And you talked about mentorship. So are you getting people from industry to mentor? I mean, is it very easy to do that when they're all busy already?
I wouldn't say it's easy, but yes, that's the point. And we're trying to get folks from the industry to mentor university students, especially women, especially people of color, because people want to see themselves in this work. And so that's so incredibly important. And I don't think it's easy, but we've actually done something that we call speed mentoring, and so it's a shorter commitment from the company side of things, but we also have 6-month commitment mentoring programs, and in many instances those will continue on, so it's just trying to connect people so they have an opportunity to learn more about why this is such an exciting place to be.
We have heard of some figures about the number of female graduates, for example, in Poland and stuff like that. So I think it is positive in some areas, and I think in Europe we've seen quite a bit of diversity here.
And we are seeing the numbers shift. And honestly, even in the U.S., the numbers are pretty strong as female graduates and female STEM graduates. But we now need to attract folks to our industry. So we really need to create those cultures where people feel like they can be part of this work.
Well, Shari, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.